What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another great episode of Tough Calls with Simone and
your boy Dylan. Yeller.
So today we're going to be talking about the WNBA.
Ballin'.
So basically, the conversation about sitting out of the 2020 basketball season really started with the NBA when Kyrie Irving spoke out and was saying, hey y'all, I don't think we should be going to the bubble. We should be fighting social justice reform. But the WNBA took over like the charge of top players sitting out of the season to continue the fight and continue the awareness of social justice in America. And we've already seen Renee Montgomery say she'll be sitting out the 2020 season. Maya Moore, who sat out the 2019 season.
She did it before the trend was a trend.
She did it before the trend was even a trend, okay? She was way ahead of the curve. She sat out the 2019, four-time WNBA champion, WNBA MVP, first-round draft pick, pretty much the all-around GOAT. Maya Moore's been sitting out since 2019 to fight for social justice reform, okay? So we've seen Renee Montgomery of the Atlanta Dream, Tiffany Hayes of the Atlanta Dream, and also Natasha Cloud, defending WNBA champion with the Washington Mystics. All black women coming out to lead the charge. More than athlete, more than ball. We need to support these black women. Purr.
You gotta love to see it. I mean, the WNBA, like you said, has really been taking over this charge, and it's really a lot. It's one thing, of course, it's one thing for the NBA to sit out, their seasons, but you gotta think they make so much more money. Not saying it's right, but they make so much more money than the WNBA does. So for the WNBA players to be willing to sit out, and mind you, the WNBA players, when they finish their WNBA season, a lot of them go overseas to play to keep that money coming in. For them to be able to sit out their WNBA season and miss out on that money and not even care, knowing that there's a bigger purpose that is bigger than basketball.
Perfect.
Sitting out that season, that entire season, not getting paid, not collecting those checks, all because they know a change needs to be brought about. It's so big that speaks volume of how serious this movement is.
Definitely, and yes, the NBA, we already know about the pay conspiracy that's for another day.
Right.
But in my opinion, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. The fact that you're willing to risk your own livelihood, whether you're working at a minimum wage job or you're working a multi-millionaire job, that's your livelihood. And the fact that you're willing to risk that, it doesn't matter how much you're making. The fact that you're willing to risk your livelihood for something bigger than you is amazing. And also the fact that WNBA, this would have been one of the biggest seasons in my opinion, because a lot of people I feel like will be tuning in this season than other seasons because they're just so interested, they're so thirsty for sports. So whereas usually they would be at a baseball game or some other soccer game or whatever summer sport is going on, now we don't have other distractions. I feel like people will be more tuned into the WNBA. Also, the WNBA just negotiated one of the largest, contracts that they've been able to negotiate with their new CBA this past offseason. So the fact that they're, have this new CBA, have all these new perks, and they're willing to forego that in their first season is amazing.
It's huge. I mean, it just shows how selfless the players are, how woke some of these WNBA players are. Third eye, they third eye. Wow. It just shows, just how much they care about not only themselves, but the community and the entire, black population as a whole, and just how much, they care about, social reform and, people getting their rights and, not, being abused by the police, killed by the police, just bringing about a change. It just shows how much the WNBA cares about, its community.
Yeah, and definitely. And with all of the players that I've seen, Natasha,
Perfect.
Renee, Tiffany Hayes, all of them saying that their organization has had their back, and even Natasha Cloud, who has a sponsorship by Converse is supporting her in her decision to sit out of the 2020 season. And the thing that really sits with me the most about these WNBA players that sitting out, shout out to the NBA players that, are sitting out as well.
Yeah.
But these players are their franchise. These are the faces of their franchise. It's not in all respect to a bench player that decides to sit out, but we all know that those franchise faces get the most media attention, which means, more attention to the movement. And the fact that these starters, these faces of their teams are taking the initiative to sit out will really, speak volumes to those who follow the WNBA. It would be like the equivalent of my LeBron sitting out, a D-Wade sitting out, Harden sitting out. These women, Tiffany, Renee, Natasha, they're all like the front runners of their teams. So that's powerful. That is not only the athletes, but also the athletes that lead their team. And Maya Moore, she sat out in her prime, like deep in her Duffy, deep in her Louis V bag. You know what I'm saying? MVP, multiple WNBA championships, and she sat out at the peak of her career. Maya Moore is like, for you non-WNBA followers, Maya Moore will be like the equivalent of LeBron James sitting out, the equivalent of Kawhi Leonard sitting out, the equivalent of James Harden. Like, salute.
Big salute to Maya Moore, really leading the way, paving the way even before there was a road there to be paved. But it's also big for, the WNBA leaders and, like you said, the faces of the franchises to be going out first, because then it's going to be a trickle-down effect. Then the role players, the bench players, or the starters who aren't as a big of a deal or don't really have their face, all over the WNBA. It's going to be like, okay, if they can do it, if our leaders can do this, then, I'm going to follow behind them as well. I'm not going to be scared to do this as well. If they can give up their livelihood, I can give up mine as well. So I feel like it's also going to cause a trickle-down effect, a domino effect across the rest of the WNBA for the rest of the players. Like, okay, I'm going to follow behind, the leaders, the franchise players. If they can do it, I can do it too.
For sure. And the one thing, like the support for the WNBA, we already know that WNBA lacks the support that it deserves. But even in this whole situation, when Renee Montgomery, I feel like she was one of the first ones I've seen that said she was going to be sitting out. She drew a whole lot of media attention. But once Tiffany Hayes and Natasha Cloud said they were sitting out, I feel like there wasn't really as much media attention around it. At least for me, like I should have known like 20 minutes after, but it took me 2 days to realize that Natasha Cloud said she was going to be sitting out, and I feel like that's due to the national media, and they need to be put in the same spotlight on them and the sacrifice that they're making, that they're putting on Avery Bradley or Trevor Ariza,
or what's the dude from Washington, Bertans.
Yeah, exactly. So they need to be put in the same respect on these WNBA players who are giving up their livelihood as well. And LaChina Robinson, she's an analyst for ESPN, and she covers the WNBA heavy. She's teaching that WNBA Duffy. She was on her podcast with Natasha Cloud before these talks were even happening before like Kyrie made it like a thing about players sitting out. She was on her podcast and she was talking to Natasha Cloud about the WNBA support, and she was saying how the WNBA is 80% black women, and the WNBA is a sport that's definitely doesn't get the support as these other white-dominated women's sports, i.e. soccer, i.e. tennis. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course we have those of course we have Serena Williams who dominates the sport because, we dominate. Yeah, but it's still a white-dominated sport. Tennis is still a white-dominated sport, and that's the sport that when people say, "Oh, I support women's sports, I watch tennis," well, that's not a black woman-dominated sport. When people say, "I watch soccer," that's not a black woman-dominated sport. The WNBA is one of the least supported women's sports, and it's a women's sports that's covered with black women and black queer women as well.
And the reason they're not getting that much support,
is it a coincidence?
I don't think so.
Is it a coincidence? Exactly. It's something to definitely think about, and I never thought about that until I saw the podcast with China and Natasha Cloud, but I definitely think there's some truth to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a coincidence. We've seen tennis get the support. Women's tennis. I mean, you could even say women's tennis is right there with men's tennis. Women's soccer. With men's soccer. I mean, look at the USA women. They get so much support. They get much more support than women. Granted, the women's team is much better than the men's team, but they're still right up there in support. But you know, you have these WNBA teams. I mean, you could argue that the Atlanta Dream, or I mean, not right now, but if you look overall through how long they've been around, the Atlanta Dream have had way more success than the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Dream have been to 2 straight WNBA finals back in their heyday, back a few years back. Atlanta Hawks haven't sniffed WNBA finals. I mean NBA finals for a while. They barely made it to the Eastern Conference Finals 1 year. So for the WNBA not to just, and that's just, you know, just giving examples for one team, it's all around.
The Mystics versus the Wizards.
I mean, look at where the Lynx? Minnesota Lynx. Maya Moore was on that team, bringing in chips.
Maya Moore and Renee were on the same team.
Maya Moore and Renee bringing in chips. You know, the Timberwolves were still getting more, you know, coverage than they were. So it just doesn't make sense. We have all these balances in a different sport, but the one sport that we see majority black women and majority queer black women, they don't get as much support as their peers.
I don't think so. And like I said, they always want to, when it's somebody who says, oh, somebody who loves sports. Now, if you're not a sports watcher, I'm not going to talk about you. But somebody who loves sports but doesn't support the WNBA, that doesn't make sense. And then you say, oh, I don't dislike women's sports. I watch tennis. Okay, and tennis is white-dominated women's sport. Soccer is a white-dominated women's sport. The WNBA is the only women's sport that's 80% black women. And yes, we have Serena Williams. That's one.
Right.
Yes, because of course, if we gonna play, we gonna win.
Exactly. I mean, that's just what we do. When we come correct. You dig?
You mean we?
I said when we come correct.
We black.
Yeah. Yo. Oh. Yeah. When they come correct. You dig?
I was just playing. So yeah, it's definitely food for thought. And if you're feeling uncomfortable about what we said, then
you need to check yourself.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for supporting Tough Calls. This is the episode. Whatnot.
We appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. You already know what to do.